Hey guys, good evening. How is everyone doing tonight? Good to see you. Let me go ahead and set up a couple of things there. Let me go ahead and see. I hope you guys are doing okay. Happy Tuesday. Hopefully it's outputting pretty well the sound. Yeah, it looks like we're good. And let me just go ahead and just say hi to everybody for just a second. How are we all doing tonight? Good? All right, very cool. All right, guys. Well, hopefully you guys are having a good week. We are, I think, like almost like away, like almost like a week or so away until spring break. So I don't know if you guys are looking forward to just having a couple days off, but I know I am. Let me go ahead and move it over here. I have like my different document camera tonight, so it's good to see that it's working. Looks like it's working pretty well. And rocking the new background too. So kind of liking that a little bit. I'm always trying to switch things up a little bit with backgrounds and whatnot. So all of them obviously relate to Adobe Illustrator. So I'm trying to keep it as fresh and as interesting as possible. So that's kind of my philosophy for the most part. And so hopefully you guys had a good week. Man, what happened over my weekend? It was pretty busy, I would say. For the most part, it seems like it went by so quickly, but I guess at the end of the day, I don't even remember. Gosh, I mean, definitely spent time with the family. Weekends are always kind of getting situated and everything of that sort. So overall, pretty decent. Nothing too crazy had happened. So yeah, man, I'm already forgetting what I did over the weekend. Sundays is definitely like prepping for the week. So if you're like me, I'm always trying to do like a bunch of meal prep for the week and all this everything like in between. So doing a lot of that over the weekend. And then Saturday, just definitely just trying to catch up on some reading. That's what happened. Do some reading, and I always like catching some of those new shows. So like I have Disney Plus, and I've been watching like all those Avengers series and everything of that sort. So it's been a pretty interesting process. I'm very curious to see like all the storytelling components that Disney's doing and the level of detailing that I've noticed in a lot of these new shows that are launching is like insanely high. And it's kind of interesting because like the level of detailing that you would see in these shows, like graphically, is pretty interesting. So, I'm noticing how like a lot of fans are like watching for graphic elements in a lot of these shows. And if you're not familiar with it, basically what happens is that when these shows launch and they're based off like previous films and one way that the studios is doing kind of like engaging the audience is kind of hiding these Easter eggs within the shows, and a lot of the Easter eggs in the form of graphics. So if you watched WandaVision, there's like a bunch of like logos and graphic icons that they threw in there that were like indicative of like previous films and things of that sort, which is really interesting. And then this new show with Captain America, like Winter Soldier and the Falcon, is really interesting because they also like hide or graphics of there's a lot of logos, a lot of graphic elements, newspaper articles, things of that sort that are like embedded within the show, which I find really interesting. So it's kind of an interesting mesh of like CG, computer graphics, animation, and graphic design. And they're using all those elements to kind of tell the storyline, which I found really interesting. So the character plots are always like informed, but they're like adding that much more to the show graphically. And so it almost seems like there's much more importance to the graphic elements in a lot of these shows than ever before, at least with Disney it is. And that kind of aligns with the company a little bit because in the past when I was there, storytelling was everything, right? Products, graphics, music, it's kind of like all within the ethos of the organization, right? Like everything has to have something that relates back to the story. And so all those graphic elements are really are being placed at a high level of detail that I've never noticed before. And so yeah, and on YouTube they have some really great like analysis and breakdowns, and these fans always are doing some pretty in-depth analysis, which I found interesting. So yeah, I always found it very encouraging to see that. So I think there's definitely a huge team of graphic artists working behind the scenes on a lot of things in the show, and that's not by accident. That's definitely intentional and by design. So I would imagine we'll see a lot more of that coming out in like the in the years to come. That's just another way to just apply products and graphic elements within the storytelling. So if you're like me, like highly detailed or sensitive to the details when it comes to graphic elements, we're moving into definitely like a society that's very in tune to the details, paying attention to the details than ever before. So just a couple of observations that I made. Never seen an organization put that much effort into detailing graphically, which connects back to to the storytelling, at least for a show. So I found that really interesting. So I'm sure there's a lot of graphic artists in the company, even within the production and the show, that's making contributions at things I've never really seen before. So a little food for thought there. You could be a graphic designer for a show and not even realize it. With streaming happening right now, there's a lot more need for graphic artists in the stream wars, because all these different streaming companies are starting their own consumer product divisions. That's where a lot of like designers get plugged in from Southern California, typically, is in those worlds. So like Netflix has their own like consumer product division that they sort of launched like 3 years ago, which I thought was interesting. And they're hiring designers to kind of develop products for their shows that get sold at like stores. So for like some of the original content that they're producing. So anywhere where there's original anything, there's always going to be a need for graphic artists to produce those elements. And it's knowing where those opportunities lie typically. At least in Southern California, I'm always finding those are the elements. Those organizations seem to be hiring a little bit more these days. So we'll find out what's trending this year. Hopefully when we get if we get a few guest speakers to come in and talk a little bit about that. So just a couple of things I wanted to share with you. But today, our game plan for today is that we're going to be coming back to Adobe Illustrator, of course. And we're also going to be coming back to our packaging as well, for packaging design. So it's going to be, we're still going to continue to build it. So we're still trying to understand the pen tool. So to comprehend and apply a fundamental understanding of the pen tool is where we're heading in all this. And excuse me, right here with the actual graphic. Boom. And we're heading towards basic and complicated shapes. So for digital illustration. So what that means is that we're going to be creating, we're going to trace these elements on screen without instructions. So we're going to, the whole intent is to get you to be able to draw anything without the instructions. So we're scaffolding up. So we're going to be concentrating on that, moving to that at a level that, increasing the level, I guess you can say. And I would say we're now in like the technical training purpose aspect of it. So we're definitely doing that. For the first few weeks was a lot of theory. So principles of design, focal points, everything of that sort. Still there, it's still there, and we're still keeping that fresh in our minds, how to look at things graphically. But now we're moving towards hand training and technical training and building the graphics. And eventually those two worlds are going to collide, right? We're going to be doing the technical, but we're also going to be doing the theoretical. And those two are going to come together where you're doing both simultaneously. So it will be some next level stuff, but we're going to do a couple of runs and practice that, okay? And our first collision, which will probably happen right after spring break, depending on how we're doing on time and things of that sort. But actually, we might be beginning as early as next week, given the time. We're going to be designing a T-shirt, but we're going to learn how to trace at an advanced level. So Once we get down to like basic drawing, we're going to move to advanced level tracing or drawing. So some next levels there, doing it the way we did it at Disney. And then from there, we're going to move it up to t-shirt design, and theoretical and technical are going to collide. So that we're going to be applying those within the t-shirt. Okay. So we will be doing that. Theoretical is design thinking at the end of the day. So we'll be plugging that in, and we'll be talking about a lot of these tools, but ultimately the pen tool is going to be really great for all three programs. So if you're moving into Photoshop, you'll know this tool. If you've already done it, you'll get a better framework of it. If you've been trained in the pen tool, what students have told me is that the way I do it is a little different than most other teachers, which is by design. So either way, you're going to walk away understanding it. Okay. And so that's how we're going to end up. Packaging design, what we are going to be doing, guys, is that we are going to be talking tonight about your phase 2 concepts, at least getting a little bit of an overview of what you're developing and conceptually. So we're going to be looking at your directions for the package, right? What are the concept directions that you have? So hopefully, I think last week we talked about having like at least 1 to 2. Hopefully we'll get at least maybe one more sneaked in there. But today I want to definitely get a little bit of time with you guys to see what you're thinking, where you're going on your conceptual directions for your packaging, and looking at all your resources and where all that art's coming from. Okay. So that's where we're heading towards. So definitely have those boards ready within about, I would say about, we'll do like a run through in about 30 minutes time, if that helps. Okay. So that's how we're going to do it for packaging design. That's how we're going to do it for digital illustration. And we're going to jump into it because I had a double shot espresso not too long ago. So I'm ready. I'm ready to jump in. So before I talk about the Bezier game, let me go ahead and open up the breakout rooms for packaging design. And then Amy, I'm going to push you over there too. So let me get that ready for you guys. And then digital illustration, my digital designers, hopefully you guys got a chance to play the Bezier curve game at some point last week or this week. So just want to kind of briefly talk about that. We're not going to run it right now, but definitely want to get your feedback on that. So before we do that, packaging designers, let me go ahead and set up your room. And we'll get you rolling there. Boom. Okay, and let's set it up for 120. I think after everything passes, I'm going to be such a Zoom pro that it's like, oh, room 1. I have to rename that. Okay. So let's take a look. So packaging designers, it should say packaging design, but I'll have you guys join us in room 1. So apologies for the name there. So jump into that, and then we'll have your presentations ready in just a couple of seconds. And let's see, Amy, do I see you here? No, I don't. So if you pop in, I will notice, and then we'll get you rocking and rolling. Okay, no worries. Okay. Ooh. All right, so let's get it set up there. And so many windows open. It's unbelievable, right? Okay. Let's close out the breakout rooms and set it up. Okay. So my game plan also, guys, is I want to definitely get a little bit of time with you, and also on the one-on-ones. So once we do the basic and the complicated shapes, there will be some time for you guys to work independently. And when we work independently, I want to use a little bit of that time also after I talk to packaging design to pull you into like a one-on-one breakout room and just check in on you guys and see how you're doing. Always at about every 3 months, or at least within a quarter's time frame, or within quarters. I'm always finding that it's always good to do some check-ins with students within the quarter marks, right? So I think we had a quarter mark, we had a few check-in, I checked in with you guys. There's a few of you that I didn't get a chance to like really have some time to talk to you. So my intent is to spend a couple of minutes just checking in, talking to you, seeing if you have any questions or concerns, and just see how you're doing. And so that's kind of my game plan to kind of see where you're at. You know, we could always make appointments as well to talk. And so you are more than welcome as well. Something tells me that I'll probably need to maybe open up some time a few minutes before class, probably a few minutes before class, just to see if anyone has any questions or concerns, since it's mostly like after work hours anyway. So if that's something that might be of interest to you, then you can always thumbs up that a little bit, and then we can kind of work out some details on how we can incorporate that into our evening. So I'm getting a little bit of a feel that that's probably going to be the game plan. Yeah, I'm already getting a couple of pluses there. So all right, cool. So yeah, we'll make it work. So we'll try to incorporate a little bit of time before class just to say hello, chat, and just kind of carry things out. So I'll make it happen. Okay, so Bezier curve game, basically what I want to say about this is that if you're ever looking for an alternative to playing and practicing your design, the Bezier curve, Bezier, they have all these different names, is a good one. And if you did play, you can give me a little thumbs up emoji. Basically, what's cool about this game is that it's designed by a graphic designer that kind of learned how to code, and then he created multiple games related to graphic design, and this was like almost 10 plus years ago, and it's by an organization called Method. And what's cool about these games, excuse me, I was trying to switch it, is that they're all designed for practice. So this evening, obviously, I want to get more time to work with you, but if there's ever a time you ever want to switch it up and play the games, these are really great, just to kind of get a little bit of a feel, practice, and just apply the Bezier game at any particular point. And always making sure that the screen sets it up. But each game is pretty much designed so that you can create a node and then use your Alt Option key to move those handles accordingly. So it's the trick is to be able to draw the line within the gray, and the technique is kind of like using an Alt Option key, but how many points can you create to kind of get around the object and close the vector? It's fun, and the training is always a little bit helpful. So I'm not going to go through all of it this evening, but I will refer you to the answers, and then that way you can kind of see how it's created. And method.ac has a lot of really cool games available related to design. So like, for example, we haven't even looked at shape type, but what's cool about this one is that it kind of takes those handles we've been learning, and you can use the handles. Remember how we talked about like anchor points and using those handles to control letter forms? Since we did vector last week, this game, you can actually use those handles and basically create fonts or portions of fonts where the widths of each of these pieces of the letter are looking as clean as possible or as proportioned as possible, right? So where the two pink circles are, my goal would be to kind of pull it so I can get a nice smooth curve to create that cube. And it's using a font called Boolean Graph, and released in 1974. And I pull to try to get the curve as smooth as I can. I run a comparison, and then basically the game it will compare how well I did overall to all the designs. And for some reason right now, it's giving me a little bit of a hard time, probably because of delay. There it goes. And it'll tell me how far I came in comparison to the actual font. And it's really cool. And it's a lot of fun. So if that's something that you might be interested in, then you're always welcome to play it. And then I'll put it in the chat so that you can check out some more of these games. So as color, as kerning, Boolean, it's really a great resource, and big props to the person that created this games to make it work for everybody. And they even created a game called Boolean Vector Operations. And this one I don't have too much experience in, but basically it's moving some of the letter forms that it looks like to create and subtract, combining and subtracting shapes. And we'll see what that looks like when we get into logo design and tracing and things of that sort. But it's a really cool tool as well, using that Boolean game. So if that's something that's kind of like piques your interest, I'll go ahead and I'll put it in the chat, and then you can take a look at it. It's method.ac. I'm always looking for ways to engage. I'm always about trying to find cool ways for engagement. And so you're always, this would be a cool way. If you're ever bored, you can play the game and try it out that way. So these are fun designer games, and it's going to be method.ac. Feel free to use them, and then I'll try to incorporate it in some of our discussions so that we can see how we can incorporate it in our trainings and things of that sort. So I'm a big fan of this one also. Okay, so switching gears, let's talk a little bit about Adobe Illustrator. So last week we left off with pen tool exercise part 3. So if you want to join me in launching your app, go ahead and take a moment to do so. And once you've successfully opened it, you can give me a little thumbs up. And then that way that'll give me the go ahead to move forward. But I want to kind of continue on this path of using the pen tool and putting in a little bit of setup. So once your application's open, you can give me a little thumbs up, or if it's already open, you give me a little thumbs up there as well. Okay. Okay, very cool. And while we're waiting for those apps to launch, did anyone get a chance to kind of go back to the video at any point from Thursday to today or earlier today to review any of the YouTube links and videos to kind of see some of the techniques? If that's you, I guess you can give me like a little green circle emoji check mark or a little explosion emoji. Curious to see if you have some time to go back and look at some of the videos and get a little bit of a visual for that. Okay, no worries. If not, I totally get it. We'll have some in-class time to do it anyway. So we're gonna give you a chance to practice in class. All right. Okay, so are we good so far in launching the app so far for everybody? Okay, perfect. So what we'll do is on pen tool exercise part 3, we had curves with corner points. Okay, now we're gonna do curves with corner points, and then curves with corner points and tweaking handles. That's the same as the pen tool exercise part 1. So it's a repeat of that. So I will skip this one for the sake of time. But we will work on the curves with corner points, which is basically an iconic tree. Okay, and then from here we'll go to the basic and complicated shapes exercise, and we're gonna jump into that and apply that as well for this evening. Okay, once we do that, then we will allow you guys some time to trace independently, and then hopefully I can use some of that time to work with packaging design. Come back, get some one-on-ones with a few of you guys just to see how you're doing. Okay. All right. So like we were saying last week, pen tool exercise is all about using our pen tool. Your left hand is going to be your best friend because that's what you're using for your quick keys, right? Right hand is your Wacom or your mouse. Excuse me, whichever you prefer. But I like using my left hand for quick keys. And so I'm always using my left hand for spacebar, which is the pan hand tool, and I can move spaces around. I like using my Alt Option and scrolling up and down to kind of zoom in. And then of course, Alt Option, it helps as well when you're using your pen tool. Here's another way that you can zoom in and out. This is just a side note on how you can zoom in and out in Illustrator. If you hold down the Command key, which is the same button, if you have a Mac, it would be on the left of the spacebar, or I believe it's Window for PC. And then on the upper right-hand side of your keyboard, you have a plus and minus. In fact, let me see if I can show you right here on my keyboard. Wow, look at that. That was a nice transition from one screen to the next. Okay, cool. What I like about my camera is that I can even flip it, which is even nicer. Okay, so basically I have my mouse here on the left and on the right. And let me just go ahead and stop sharing so you can get a little bit of a visual for it. But basically, I'm always holding my mouse and I'm using my thumb to basically hold down spacebar to move left and right. But to do a zoom, sometimes I like to hold down the Command key and then go plus, which is on the upper right-hand side of your keyboard. It's on the left-hand side of the delete key. And if I hold down Command, or I believe it's Windows for PC, and go plus, 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 then if you do that, it zooms in and zooms out. So plus, plus, plus zooms in, minus, minus, minus zooms out. And sometimes I kind of do a quick thing where I put like my thumb over here and I use my ring finger or long finger here. Yes, I have long fingers. And so I just do like a Command and I go plus, 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 minus, 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 plus, plus, plus. So whichever feels like the most comfortable to you, right? Whichever orientation feels nice. If you like, going this way, or you like going that way, or if even just Alt and then scrolling up and down. Those are a couple of ways that you can zoom in on your keyboard. And quick keys is super helpful for a lot of that, right? So I always like doing Command plus, plus, plus to zoom in, zoom out, and then using my spacebar to kind of pan left and right, and then using my middle finger right there to kind of go back and forth. So kind of always using one finger, zooming in and out, going back and forth, Command plus, Command minus, and I could even do another zoom. Here, actually, here's yet a third way of zooming. Let's say you want to do a zoom. What you could also do, another way of doing a zoom, is that you can hold down on your Mac spacebar, Command, and if you hold down both the spacebar, Command, without letting go, spacebar, Command, you'll see a magnifying glass with a plus sign on it. Okay, and if you use your mouse, you can actually click and it zooms in. So zoom, 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 click, click, click. How do you zoom out? Well, I take my third finger and I do the Alt Option key. So I'm pushing the spacebar, Command, Alt Option, and then I see a minus sign with a magnifying glass with a little minus sign. And then I click, 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 zoom out. Okay. So it really depends on like what feels more comfortable to you. I've been doing this for so many years that like for me, I kind of like, it really depends on like how I'm feeling that time. If I can do a Command, a spacebar Command plus, 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 I can zoom in, click, 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 or minus, 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 and then use the hand, zoom in and out. So literally that's kind of how I'm moving across my page. And, as I'm going left and right, that's kind of how I'm flowing throughout the entire design. So, sometimes when people want to see like how I'm designing things, that's literally how I'm going about doing it, how I'm doing this. I'm just basically going left and right, zooming in, right? If I was trying to like move really quick, then yeah, I would basically, and we'll do this in a second, right? But basically, hold down Alt Option, click, pull that way, right? Alt Option. You can almost kind of see my fingers move a little bit quick there. Alt Option, move there, over here, right? Move there, number 9. pull over here, go that way, 12, pull this way, hold Alt Option 14. So eventually, okay, I'm not expecting anyone to be like the Flash here, but eventually, once you do it enough times, over and over again, then you do get to this place where you kind of flow, and it just kind of feels like really natural, right? And then got that, right? So if you ever like make like a mistake, here's actually a really good tool as well. And some of you may have seen it before, but for those of us that haven't, let's say I want to, whoa, what happened here? Let's say I want to go back in time and kind of undo something. I can do Command and then the letter Z like zebra. And what this does is that it goes back in time and I can undo what I created. So Command Z, if you ever make a mistake, Command Z will be your best friend. And you can always go back and forth in the program to set it up. So if I zoom out and I hold down Command Z, I'm going to do, and my mouse is not holding anything. I do Command Z, Command, and I'm holding down Command, right? Not letting go. And I'm just going Command Z, 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 and I start from square one. Does that, if that makes sense, you can give me like a little thumbs up emoji. But that's kind of how I like do it when it comes to like my flow. So that's a nice 80s guitar going on back there. I gotta listen to my playlist in advance these days. But basically that's kind of how I flow when it comes to my my keyboard, and it's really helpful overall. So Command Z, you know, plus minus, go with what feels super natural for you, because the more you do, the better you're going to get and the stronger you're going to be through the practice. So it's all muscle memory. It's like playing a piano. Eventually you're going to get so used to it that it's going to be like second nature. So my job is to basically make sure that you're getting as much of that playtime as possible. Let me flip it. To get much of that playtime as possible, so to speak, with the tool, so that you get that muscle memory going. And that's why the learning how to learn is helpful, because you're dedicating it to the muscle memory. So that's kind of the thinking behind that. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and let's draw this tree, and then we'll move on to the basic and complicated shapes. Okay. And let's go ahead and make a couple of quick adjustments there, and then we'll get you set up. Okay. All right. Muy bien, très bien. All right. So here we go. So here we're going to go into number 1, and Command plus. As a matter of fact, let me switch my camera back to my keyboard, so then that way you can kind of see me in action. It's no use to seeing my face, right? If I'm drawing. And I'll try my best to see if you can kind of capture the keyboard there, so you can kind of see at least my left quick key that's going on. So that way you can kind of see where I'm going with it. Okay, that works. And then in terms of mouse, I think we'll be okay. I think it's more like the left key, if anything. So, okay, so here we go. All right, so we're gonna start off with using our Alt Option key. So the first thing we're gonna do, before anything actually, is on the left-hand side, we wanna make sure that we got a fill of none over here, and that our stroke is black or any other color of your choice. So for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm gonna make this red, so then with a thick brush stroke, so that you guys can see it visually in the demo. That way there's no issues, and everything is looking as clean as it possibly can, okay? So fill of none and a brush stroke of whatever color you want, okay? So that's the first thing, because every time this program, Adobe Illustrator, draws something, it always assumes that it's going to be white on the inside with a black border on the outside. So that's kind of the way the program thinks. So from here, let's go ahead and draw it out. So I'm going to hold down my Alt Option key. Okay, so I'm going to click, hold down Alt Option key, and then pull up to number 2. Release the mouse, release the Alt Option key. Okay, I'll do that again. So I'm going to click. So let me go ahead and see if I can get a little bit of feature here. It's to the left, move my mouse over here, much better. Okay, so in this instance, I'm basically gonna do it again. I'm gonna hold down the Alt Option key, or excuse me, I'm gonna click, then hold down Alt Option key. I'm gonna pull up, okay, release the mouse, release Alt Option, okay, and then I have my next curve ready to follow, okay. So from here, I'm going to hold down my space bar so I can move to the left. I'm gonna click, hold the click. I'm not holding anything with my left. And I'm gonna pull down from 3 to 4. Okay, do not click on number 4. Okay, do not click on number 4. Okay, I'm gonna hold down my Alt Option key. I'm gonna see the little upside down V there, right? Looks like a little tilde. Put the tip of the V in the 4. Click, hold the click, pull up to number 5, green. Release the mouse, release the button. Do not click on 5. Okay, do not click on 5. I'm gonna go to number 6. I'm going to click, hold the click, drag down to number 7. Okay, release, do not click on 7. Okay, do not click on 7. Okay, move my mouse there. I'm gonna hold down the Alt Option key. Okay, there's the upside down V. I'm gonna go to the handle in number 7. I'm gonna try to get the tip of the handle or the tip of that V inside the handle. I'm gonna click, I'm gonna hold the click, wiggle it around and see it caught. I'm gonna swing up to number 8. Okay, release the mouse, release the Alt Option. Do not click on number 8. Okay, do not click on number 8. I'm gonna go to number 9. Okay, I'm gonna click, hold the click. I'm gonna drag to number 10. Okay, release. Hold down the Alt Option key for the upside down V or tilde. Okay, I'm gonna click, I'm gonna hold the click, drag to number 11. Release, release the mouse. Do not click on 11. Okay, do not click on 11. I'm gonna go to 12. I'm gonna click, I'm gonna hold the click, drag up to 13, release. Okay, do not click on 13. Do not click on number 13. I'm gonna hold down the Alt Option key. I'm gonna hold the tip there. I'm gonna click onto 13, wiggle it around, got the handle. Okay, we're gonna swing to number 14, release the mouse, release Alt Option. Do not click on 14. Okay, do not click on 14. I'm gonna go to 15 blue here on the bottom. I'm gonna click, hold the click, drag up to number 16 red. Okay, release. Okay, do not click on 16. Okay, do not click on number 16. I'm gonna hold down the Alt Option key and wiggle my mouse. There's the upside down V, the tilde. Click on 16, click, hold the click, drag to 17, release. Do not click on 17. Okay, do not click on 17. I'm gonna go to 18. I'm gonna click, hold the click, drag up to 19. Okay, I'm going to release. Do not click on 19. Okay, do not click on 19. Hold down Alt Option key. There's upside down V. Okay, Gonna click, hold the click, drag up to, that should have been 20. My apologies. It's supposed to be 20, but it says 17. So release, okay, do not click on that incorrect 17. Do not click on 17 green. Okay, we're gonna go to 20 blue. I'm gonna click, I'm gonna hold the click, drag to 21, release. Do not click on 21. Okay, do not click on 21. I'm gonna hold down the Alt Option key. I'm going to take that 21 inside. I'm gonna click, hold the click, drag up to 22 green, release. Do not click on 22 green. Do not click on 22 green. Gonna go to 24. Gonna click, hold the click, drag up to 23 red. That's incorrect. Release. Do not click on 23 red. Do not click on 23 red. I'm gonna hold down my Alt Option key. Take that tip of that handle. I'm gonna click, hold the click, drag up to 25. Release. Do not click on 25. Do not click on 25. Okay. And then I'm gonna go back to number 1, which is technically like 26, but it's really number 1. I see the little circle. Okay, that means I'm about to close the shape when I see the circle. I'm gonna click, hold the click, and basically drag down so that the curve goes in the opposite direction, release, and you're done. Okay. If that worked out successfully for you, you give me a little thumbs up emoji just to see how that worked out. Hopefully it felt a little easier, but if it was successful and you got it, that would be great. If we need to do a rerun, I could do that, but if you got the top part and it's looking good, just go ahead and give me a little thumbs up emoji just to see if you're good there. And okay. All right, any reruns that we need to do here by any chance? Okay. Oh, okay, so no worries. Okay, no, if it fell behind, don't worry about it. When we get to the basic shapes, you'll see what it looks like in just a couple of seconds there, okay? So it's similar, but it's not quite the same, okay? So we will come back to it, so, okay, do not worry. All right. Now, if it was disconnected, then you can hit escape to hit it there. But if it's feeling a little bit off, don't worry. I want to get to the basic shapes because really it's the tracing without instructions that's going to be really important. Okay. So don't worry at this point if it's kind of like a little bit off. Okay. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on to the next one. Now, if you have a line, let's say there was an error or something happened, you can hit escape. So for example, if you hit a situation where you have a line following or something happened and it's incomplete, don't worry about it. You can hit the escape key. Okay. If you hit the escape key, then we can get you, we're going to start a new line, which is going to be an unclosed vector shape. Okay. So if you have a portion of it, no worries, we'll give you credit for it. It's really the basic shape that where everything lies ultimately. Okay. Okay. So for this one is basically going to be a, where are you? 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 44. Here we go. And it's basically going to start a little bit past the upper right where 17 is. So if I look over here to this point over here, we're going to start a little bit underneath this where the red tip of the arrow is, our point. So that's actually where we're going to start. And then we're going to make our way around this way in the direction and back up. But it won't be a closed vector shape. It'll just be a line, so to speak. Okay. So, but we will be starting at that location. Okay. So this one is fairly straightforward. So let's go ahead and start with our pen tool. Okay, so all I'm going to do is just click once to create a point. Okay. And I'm going to go to 29. So that's technically 28 that's hiding there. And I'm going to go to 29. I'm going to click, hold the click, drag to 30, release. Do not click on 30. Okay, do not click on 30. Okay, I'm going to go to 31. I'm going to click, hold the click, drag to 32. Okay, release. Okay, do not click on 32. Okay, do not click on 32. Here's what we're going to do now. We're going to go back to 31, and I'm actually going to delete that handle that's over here by the instructions. So the handle that's technically here, excuse me, let me pull it out. I'm actually going to go back to the same point, and I'm going to delete that handle. And that's actually going to be the secret to the next exercise, which is basic and complicated shapes. So I'm going to come back to over here, and I'm going to delete that handle, which is located at 31. And when I take the tip of the pen and put it over that point, I'll see the little upside down V. I'm going to click, and the handle has disappeared. So now I have a new line following me, and I'm just going to create one straight line to 34. Okay. And I'm basically going to click once. Okay. So I have a straight line going from the bottom part of our tree. Okay, we're going to come up to 37 up here. We're going to click, hold the click. Okay, drag up to about 38, a little bit past 38 actually, so that we can kind of get that curve. So just above the 38. Release. Okay, just to get that little curve happening. And then we're going to go up to a little bit past 14, which technically is 39. It's kind of hiding above 14 next to the word click there. And I'm just going to click once to complete the line. And then hit escape, and you're done. Okay. So if that method felt a little weird, don't worry about it. Okay. It'll all make sense when we get to the heart in our basic shapes. Okay. Okay, very cool. So if that works for you, you can give me a little thumbs up emoji. Hopefully that kind of worked out for you. And if there was a little bit of an issue, then we'll come back to that in just a kind of few moments, okay? Okay. All right, no thumbs up emoji. So I'm gonna assume that we made, anyone have any issues with that bottom section? Like, oh, there was some specific numbers happening here. Okay, so there was a couple of issues there. Okay, hang tight. Okay, do not worry about this one. It'll make sense once we do those basic shapes, because the tracing is really where everything's at. So what we're gonna do here is we are going to go to the basic and complicated shapes. So we're gonna kind of flip it, and let's get to basic and complicated shapes so that we can go over some of the functionality. So I'm just kind of seeing myself here on cam. So let's do that first, and then we'll kind of move forward from there, okay? So, because it'll all make sense once we get to the basic and complicated shapes, okay? So let me go ahead and just put the basic and complicated shape link in here in the chat so we can download it. And I'm gonna copy the link. And basic and complicated shapes link. Excuse me. Okay. And let's go ahead and click onto that link. And we should see, excuse me. We should see loading up this exercise, part 4, which is the basic and complicated shapes, or pencil exercise part 4. Okay. Go ahead and click onto the button on the upper right-hand side to download. Excuse me. So we'll click here to download. If you have Safari, it'll be on the upper right-hand side when it downloads. If you have Chrome, it'll be on the lower left. Okay, and then we're going to click onto the file to open it. Okay. All right, and if it's successfully open, go ahead and give me a little thumbs up emoji. And I'm going to share my screen and switch over to Adobe Illustrator. So if you're ready to go, we can open it up. Okay, very good. All right, anyone still in the process of opening by any chance? You can type it in like, oh, still opening. Sometimes some computers run a little bit slower depending on your processor speed and the number of other programs running in the background. If you feel like your Illustrator is running a little bit slow, if there's any other programs like Adobe, Microsoft Word, or maybe another Adobe program running, try closing those other programs to kind of open up the RAM, which is the random access memory, so that it doesn't pull as much and slow down the program. So those are a couple of little tips there. If it runs slow, then if you have any other programs running unnecessarily, close those, and it should kind of improve the performance of the app and its processing. If you're the type of person that doesn't have their program or has their computer on all the time and it sleeps, quote unquote, all the time, at some point, maybe during the break or after class, I would suggest like restarting the computer. So then that way it can kind of like process and just give you the primary programs that you need. I always find that my computer runs a little bit faster when I restart it because it's kind of cleaning up the cache and all these other things in the background that never got a chance to clean as it shuts down. So just a couple of tips there to kind of help you improve performance on your computer, since everyone's coming from like different computers essentially. Okay, so for basic complicated shapes, we're gonna do it again. Okay, and if it's going a little bit too fast, let me know. You can give me a little like red X, let me know if I'm going too fast. And if it's looking good, you can give me like a little thumbs up overall. But what I'm gonna do is first, as I open this program, I'm gonna make sure that I have a fill of none, and I'm gonna make sure that I have a outline color of my choice. So I'm gonna make sure that my fill is none, and the brush stroke I'm gonna switch it from black to red because I want you guys to be able to see it at home for those of us that have small monitors. And so I'm gonna switch it, okay? And from here, I'm going to zoom in on the heart. So we're gonna take a look at that heart for a second, and we're gonna focus on that, okay? All right, stand by for 2 seconds here, guys. Let me adjust something on my computer so that I don't miss anything. So give me about 30 seconds. Hold on. Okay, back again. Thanks guys for your patience. All right, so let's talk about this tracing. Okay, so the idea behind this is that the heart is that it's all about connecting the dots. So for basic shapes, there's a certain technique that I kind of alluded to last week, and that technique I called was like killing the handle or deleting the handle, right? And so that basically is like it's kind of like starting over a new line without a curve following you, so to speak. And so I always like doing that for tracing because it makes it super simple in the tracing process. So let me just show it to you really quick. You don't have to follow yet, just kind of see how I do it first. And then we'll do like a follow there. The way I think about it is that I kind of ask myself, you know, when I look at the shape, like this heart, I ask myself like, okay, like one, you know, what's the topmost point, or where do the lines converge that I can start? So like you can start at the bottom, you can start at the top. It really doesn't matter where you start, but it's how you're moving that's gonna how it counts. So for me, I always kind of think of it as kind of like a little bit of a map. I always ask myself like, you know, where do they come together, the lines, so I can start. So I'm just gonna start here in the middle, just to kind of at that where the top of the heart where they converge, right? And for me, I just kind of look at like what is the kind of like the edge of the curve, or the furthest point where the curve goes to the left. So it's kind of like, you know, where does it go from the top? Where does it go to the left? Where does it go to the bottom? Where does it go to the right? Kind of like a little bit like a compass, right? North, right? Topmost, west. What's the furthest point? Westward. South, point to the south. East, point to the east, or of the curve. So just kind of watch me here. So I just click once to create a point. And then I just kind of ask myself, okay, where does the line kind of go furthest out, or the heart go furthest out for the curve? Right about here. It looks about, I'm going to hold the click, and basically you're going to pull, okay, to create that curve. Now, what I normally do in this instance is that I have this handle following me, right? And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go back and I'm going to kill the handle, right? So I'm going to take the tip of the pen, go back, and that handle that's sticking out is going to disappear. Click. So I've killed the handle, right? It's like starting over again. It's like a new line. I'm going to come down to the heart, and I'm going to say, okay, where does this curve kind of finish? It's like, well, for the left side, it finishes right about here. So I'm going to click, hold, and I'm already having an issue with like where the curve's going. I can't go anywhere. But Illustrator is cool because if I tap the bottom part of the program with the tip of that selection piece, then it actually moves the artboard. But you have to be careful because it moves pretty fast in order for that to be the case. The other option would be to zoom out a little bit and just kind of see everything for what it is, so you don't have to worry about it as much. But I'm basically going to go to the bottom. I'm going to click, hold the click, and I'm going to pull down towards the right. As I'm pulling out, okay, as I'm pulling out, the handle's going the opposite direction. So I'm going to demonstrate that again. Click, hold the click, pull out, and as I'm going out, it's kind of like those topsy-turvy games, right? So, or a teeter-totter. When I go one direction, I see this curve go out in the other direction. And I'm going to try to match that curve to the edge of the heart. Okay, so if you see where the heart is, there's this blue curve and the handle's pulling it. It's kind of like I'm pulling down to the right and it's pulling the handle to the opposite direction. I'm sort of guiding that opposite handle by moving my handle downward. So as I pull out, the other handle pulls outward to the opposite direction. I'm going to match it to the edge of the heart, release, and I have a curve there. Okay. Now I'm going to go back, kill the handle, delete. Okay. And then from here, I'm going to go to the opposite side of the heart, the exact position on the opposite side, because it's a symmetrical object, right? And so symmetrical meaning the same on the opposite. So I'm gonna go back to the same position on the opposite side. I'm gonna click, hold the click. I'm gonna pull up and to the left. And you notice that curve on the opposite side. I'm gonna try to match that curve to the outside of the heart as best as I can. I'm gonna come back, right? And get it to match as close as I possibly can. Release, go back, kill the handle, delete like a new point. Tip of the pen is at the first point, circle. I'm gonna click, hold the click, pull to the left. Okay, release, and I have a closed vector shape of a heart. Okay, how many of you guys want me to show you that again? Just thumbs up emoji, like what did you just do? Okay, let's try that again. Command Z, Command Z, Command Z, Command Z, Command Z. Okay, I'll try to use as less minimal words as possible. Okay, here we go again. Kind of zoomed out, right? Because I'm going to see a little bit of the handles. Drop 1 point, click to start. Just click once to start anywhere. How far does this curve go to the left? Right about here. Click, pull, and try to match the edge of the curve to the top of the heart. Pull, right? If you're off, that's okay. It's the first time. Release. Okay, got a handle here. Go back, kill the handle. Okay. Delete. New line. Go to the bottom of the shape. That's the southernmost point for me. Click, pull down and to the right. Okay, it's really sensitive. So I'm gonna move, release, go back, kill the handle, upside down V, delete. Come back opposite point, exact position, opposite side. Click, pull up towards the left. Okay, edge matches to edge of heart, release. Kill the handle, click. Go back to first point, circle means close. Click, hold the click, go to opposite left, release, and you're done. Okay, so the core idea is that I'm asking myself, what is the leftmost point? Yeah, what is the furthest point of the curve to the left, furthest point on the bottom, furthest point on the right, and towards the top. That's where I'm gonna put my points. Then the second part is click holding and controlling how much of the curve goes outward. So that's sensitive, takes a little bit of time to get used to. And going back to kill the handle. So it comes down to three things, right? How far do I go on the curve, on that shape, basically? Click, hold, pull, right? Kill the handle, and then do it again. Does that make sense? So it comes down to 3 steps. Okay, so how far out does that shape go? Click, hold, pull, right? Try to match the edge, kill the handle, do it again. Okay, does that make sense? Does that kind of make sense in terms of just the overall strategy? And if it does, give me like a little thumbs up emoji there to set it up. Okay. All right. So yeah, so you could do that. You could do it like that as well. As long as it's matching or it's symmetrical, that's totally fine. But you'll see that as we draw more, not every position is symmetrically opposite. So whatever works for you in terms of positioning, that's totally fine. I always like to kind of eyeball it overall, but there's a lot of different ways to go about that, so that helps. Okay, so let's do the heart together. Okay, if you did it, great. But let's just kind of do this together, and we'll do a couple together overall, okay? So let's do the heart. All right, so here I am, spacebar. I'm about 67% zoomed out, okay? More or less, so it's right about there. I'm going to just click once. Click, that's it. Just drop a point. All right, could be anywhere. I just choose for it to be the top. Yeah. I'm gonna go to this point of the heart. Okay. I'm gonna click. I'm gonna hold the click. Don't let go. Pull down southwest. Okay, go southwest. You might have to go nice and slow because it's really sensitive, right? And try to get to the edge of the heart. Okay, release. Okay, go back to the point. Okay, kill the handle. Click, new line, straight line. Go to the bottom of the heart. Click, hold the click, go southeast, southeast. Okay. Might have to go a little bit further out. You might have to adjust accordingly, maybe a little bit further down, a little bit more to the right. Okay. Use your best judgment. Okay. Release. Go back. Kill the handle. Right. There's the upside down V. Delete. New line. Opposite end. It's right about here. Click. Go northwest. Okay. You might have to pull back in and out. Adjust accordingly. Okay. Okay. Try your best to match around the edge of the heart. Release. Go back. Okay, kill the handle. Okay, new line. There's my first point, tip of the pen, first point. I see that circle. That means I'm about to close it, right? Close the shape. Click, hold the click, go southwest. Wrap it around the edge, release. You're done. You drew your first heart. How many of you guys successfully got that? Give me a little thumbs up. Hopefully you got it. Cool. All right. Okay. Anyone else want me to repeat that? Just want to make sure. Okay, we should be okay. Okay, let's do the leaf next. Okay, so let's break the philosophy down. Oh, okay. Okay, no worries, Elizabeth. So for the heart, Elizabeth, was it like getting the pulling, right? Is it like click, hold the click, and move left and right? Hopefully that's the case. Yeah, it's the click pulling part is where it takes practice. So if you're if it's like close, it's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? As long as we can make the heart, that's okay. But the click and the pulling part is the stuff that takes a little getting used to. And that's what makes the pen tool really a pretty powerful tool is that function. Okay. Okay. So hopefully we're good to move forward there. Okay. All right. Okay. We're good. Cool. Okay. There we go. All right. Let's move on to the leaf. Okay. Now for the leaf, I'm going to basically click a point, right? I'm going to click the top point because I always like to go, top, left, right, bottom, and then the right. But we're going to go all the way around. So I'm just going to drop one point at the top of the leaf. Click, right? Now I ask myself, where does the curve kind of finish? Oh, well, the curve kind of finishes like right at the end here where they kind of come to a point. So I always ask myself, like, where does that curve finish? I go, it finishes like right here furthest to the left. Okay, so I'm gonna hold the click, and I'm gonna drag down. I'm just gonna go south. And as I go south, the opposite handle goes up, but up in a curve, right? Because it's bending towards the handle. So, if I go too fast, obviously it's gonna go too far, but I'm just gonna go perfectly south and try to match it as best as I can. Okay, cool. Release. Okay, we're gonna go back and kill the handle. We're gonna do it again, but just from right to left. So I'm gonna kill the handle. I'm gonna delete this handle on the bottom. Click, no handle. It's like starting over. So I'm gonna say, where does that curve finish? Oh, it finishes like right here at the tip again. Perfect curve finishes right about there. Okay, leftmost point. I'm gonna click, I'm gonna hold the click, I'm gonna go south, west, right? And I'm probably it's gonna be a little bit shorter, right? Not as far because it's not as big of a curve. So I'm just gonna go southwest and try to match it as best as I can to the edge of that leaf, okay? Looks pretty good, no problem. Release, not bad. We're gonna do it again. We're gonna go back, see, to that point. I'm gonna start to see a little bit of an upside down V technically, but because it's black and black, it's not visible. But I'm gonna go back to that point, delete the handle, click, like a new point again. I'm gonna say, hey, where does this curve finish? Let's see, the curve finishes right about here at the edge. So I'm gonna click, hold the click. I'm gonna pull to the east. So I'm gonna go east to the right perfectly, almost in a straight line. And as I pull to the right, two handles are pulling out, one to the right, of course, which is the one I'm controlling. And then the one going the opposite direction. That's the one where the curve is pulling towards, like a magnet. And I'm just gonna try to go further to the right. I might have to pull back in a little bit just so that it lines up, maybe go up a little bit here and there, depending, to match the outline of the curve. Release. Okay, go back, kill the handle, delete, click. Okay, I've just deleted that extra handle. Now I have a little curve happening on the bottom. So I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit on that bottom of that curve. So Alt Option, scroll up and down. And right here, to me, the curve is finishing right about here. So I'm starting to see a little bit of a curve happening there. And it's right about here before that next little curve activates. So to me, it kind of finishes there, this nice smooth curve. So I'm gonna click, hold the click, go south really gently and to the left. Okay, if you're zoomed out, you're almost moving like very, very, very lightly because it's that sensitive, right? So you're just moving super delicately because that's a little curve, right? So you're starting to see how sensitive this tool is. So I'm just gonna move down to the left, just super gently, okay? Release. Okay, I'm gonna go back. Okay, you might have to zoom in on this one, right? But I'm gonna delete that handle. Kill the curve, or kill the handle, I call it. Click, nice straight point. Okay, I see this curve, this little tiny curve that kind of rolls about on the bottom. I'm gonna click on the opposite side where that curve kind of finishes. And I'm gonna go north and west. And that's also gonna be like super, super subtle. Like it's almost like a little tap, if anything, of moving northeast, practically, it looks like. Okay, so try your best to wrap it around. If it's off, that's okay. Release. Okay, go back, kill the handle, delete. And again, hey, where does this curve finish? It finishes like right about here towards the top. Let me move my position with the space, holding down the space bar. I'm going to come up here where the curve finishes at the top. I'm going to click, hold the click, move north, 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 north. Okay. And try my best to get that curve to match up. Okay. Almost perfectly northward. Okay. Release. Go back, kill the handle, delete the handle, delete. Okay. It's like starting all over again. I might have to zoom out for this one again. So Alt Option, scroll out. probably at maybe about 100% roughly. Here is my next curve, and I'm kind of coming back to basics, right? I'm going to go back to the point here at the opposite end, pretty much the symmetrical. It's almost the same location, opposite end symmetrical. And I'm going to click, hold the click. I'm going to pull up, north, right? Ever so gently, and move eastward. So it's going to be a subtle northeast sort of pull practically. And as I'm pulling up, I'm trying to match that opposite end of that curve to the edge of the leaf. Okay. So I'm going to pull in, out, give or take. Release. Okay. Go back. See the little upside down V there? That means I'm going to kill the handle, delete that extra handle. Delete. Okay. We're going to go to the same point on the opposite side there. So right where this curve finishes, I'm saying, oh, where does this curve finish on the right? Right about there. I'm going to click, hold the click, pull to the left, right? Go west. Okay. Slightly southward, but it's going to shift a little bit here and there. You might have to kind of go down to see the edge to pull it back in. Okay. Go gently, as subtly as possible, right? Try to match it. Okay. Release. Okay. Go back, kill the handle. Delete. Okay. New line, nice straight line. That means it's new. Go back to that point. There's the circle. That means I'm about to close the shape. Okay. That's my sign, your signal that you can close it. But I'm going to click, hold the click. So I'm going to click, hold the click, and go north, west. Might have to pull out a little bit, maybe go back in to the edge, release, and you're done. Okay, so we got ourselves a leaf. Okay, congratulations if you got that. If you're not there, don't worry, you're working on it. But how many guys successfully closed that leaf? Okay, cool. All right. And anyone that kind of still working on that a little bit? Okay. Yeah, it's kind of like deleting the handle, you know, put it this way. This method is a lot easier for beginners to understand, because using the other methods, which is Alt Option, is a lot more confusing, in my opinion. If we can get this down about going back and killing the handle and just getting the basic understanding of a straight line curve, straight line curve, straight line curve, then the Alt Option features will come into play a little bit later, if that makes sense, because it's kind of easier to go about it that way. Okay. Okay. So just out of curiosity, okay, I know we're at the top of the hour, okay? I want to give you guys a little bit of a break, because I can almost feel like the mental, like the neurons growing in your brain, and the frustration, it almost feels a little bit there for those of us. Now, if it feels weird, it's totally normal, okay? How many of you guys feel that that you can do the basic shapes independently? Like once we get back from break, you feel like, oh yeah, I think I can do this on my own. Couple of trials. I know if I just need more practice. Just give me a couple of rounds here and there, and I'll be okay independently. Okay. Okay, great. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna give everybody a break. Okay. Take about 10 minutes. And when we get back, I'm gonna check in with you. Basically say, okay, we're back from break. We're gonna continue, and then I'm gonna switch to packaging designers, and I'm gonna spend about a good, I'm guessing it might be up to an hour just looking at their presentations, okay? So that being said, that should give us a good hour to work on it. And if you get done, move on to the complicated shapes, okay? And I would say take a look at the video that's on Canvas for complicated shapes, because it's the same methodology, that I mentioned about killing the handle. Okay, so I'm gonna have you guys go a little bit on the asynchronous side, and then that way you can give it a little bit of a practice run. Okay, so that way you can set it up. Feel free. I'll stop it there. I'm already like instructing into the break. Okay, so we'll take a 10-minute break and we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit about the drawing and next steps. Okay, guys? Okay, we'll connect at 8:10. Okay, guys, we are back and just wanted to, I gotta get that Mufasa sound going back in here, right? Okay, so just a quick recap. We're gonna be working on tracing your basic shapes. Okay, and so use that method, okay, deleting the handle, starting over. And when you're pulling on the mouse, you know, it's sensitive. So you may need to zoom in at some parts here and there in order to get those curvatures just right, okay? And, and of course, try to close those shapes, okay? When we get to complicated shapes, I would start with the rabbit. And the way I look at complicated shapes is that I think of them as basic shapes. However, I think that there are lots of little curves, or lots of curves in little spaces, if that makes sense. So I draw complicated shapes exactly the same way as I would basic, except I just zoom in and consider each little curve, or each little curve its own sort of basic shape, if that makes sense. So as long as you kind of think about it in terms of like lots of basic little curves, but in smaller sizes, then that's how you kind of look at complicated shapes. It's like basic shapes, except there's just more curves in small spaces or small sizes, if that makes sense. Okay. So I just wanted to share that with you as a quick reminder. Okay. If there's any specific questions, feel free to send me a message. You can call me, and then that way I can come over. I'll be doing presentations during that time and listening to the packaging designers. Okay. But definitely give it your best shot. See how you feel about it, and should be checking in about an hour's time. Okay. So if that works for you, a little thumbs up emoji will help just to confirm where we're heading. And you got this. You'll do super well. And just, take your time. All right. Cool. All right. Sounds good. I'm going to jump over to the next room. And if there's any questions that you might have, feel free to help each other out. We're all here to help one another, so you can voice it in or type it in to support. Okay. All right. All right, guys. I'll be back in about an hour.
we're just doing
Hey guys, back again. Kind of went a little on the overtime with packaging design, but no worries. Just wanted to check in and see how you're doing so far. So bear with me a couple of minutes. So far, how many guys are in complicated shapes currently and drawing that out? And how's it going so far? If that's you, get a little thumbs up emoji there. Okay, great. Awesome. Okay. And for basic shapes, anyone still working on the basic shapes at the moment? And still kind of tracing basic shapes. If that's you, can give me a little thumbs up emoji there. Okay, so it looks like we're kind of there. Okay. So really quick, basic shapes. How many of you guys felt pretty comfortable overall with the basic shapes? And like, okay, basic shapes, it made sense. And we're looking like we got a little bit of an outline for the design, and it's looking fairly decent in your opinion. Just wanted to get a little bit of a visual. If that's you, little thumbs up emoji there. Okay, that's great. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do before we conclude. What I love to do is I'm going to get us, and let me go ahead and launch the Padlet here. I would love to get a visual of some of your traces. So I'm going to put up a form, and then we'll upload your basic shapes and complicated shapes. So you can take a screenshot of it, just so I can see what the outlines look like. Okay, if that helps. If you want to change it to like a little bit of a red outline, you can. So, but I'm going to get at least a little screenshot of how you're progressing so far in the design. So then let me take a look. That is the laser engrave. I don't want the laser engrave. And I'm going to go ahead and post that up really quick and see where you're at. Login with Google. Okay. And the Padlet will help us. It's kind of like similar to what we did for last time. And pixel. Okay. Okay, that's not that one. And pixel. Okay, let me go ahead and clear that really quick. Okay, 4870. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is put up a Padlet. So we'll call this our basic and complicated shape check-in. And that one we're going to put a little bit of a solid there. Okay, let's go with the blue. And basic complicated shape. Author comments, reaction. So, and then we'll get that posted in momentarily. Okay, hold on, let's get that. And copy that. And start posting and share. Okay, so copy link to clipboard. Okay, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna share the link here, is that let's take a couple of screenshots of your traces. Okay, so basic shape, complicated shape. If you want to select and switch them to a different color, that's great. Or you can select the shapes and then I'll see kind of like the outline as from the selection. That's totally fine too. But I'm going to post it into the chat, and then that way we can kind of get a little bit of a visual for how the designs are looking. This is kind of like a quick assessment, and then that way I can see where that's going. So feel free to upload that. That'll be our exit ticket for the evening. And then I'm going to evaluate. And then on Thursday, we're going to take a look at those. We're going to talk about those basic shapes, more focus on the complicated, of course, and just going a little bit deeper on traces and finding ways to kind of modify those traces. Our packaging design, we're almost done with them as well. So we'll probably do a similar format for next time. Which we'll be talking to them while you're tracing, and then as soon as they're done talking, then we'll flip it, and then we'll finish off the evening together. So go ahead and take a moment to upload that. Type in first name, last name by clicking on the little plus sign on the upper left-hand side. And that'll be our exit ticket. So this is only a formative assessment, which is just us just checking in about the design. I'm just kind of seeing how everyone's doing after an independent draw. And then you can upload that link once you do the trace. So. Okay, complicated, basic complicated shape. And pick a file. And then I will upload that screen file as such. Okay. Okay. All right. And then once you see that design on your screen, then we can go ahead and log off for this evening. And totally proud of you guys for making those drawings come to life, because I know it takes a little bit of practice, but I'm telling you, it'll be, once it's done, you'll be really happy with getting to trace anything and everything without any type of instruction. Okay. So we'll get you set up there and get a little bit of a peek for it as well. Okay. All right. Awesome. Okay. And then of course, make sure you get your name in there. If you post it without your name, you can go ahead and type it in the comment section. I just want to be able to get a little bit of a visual and see how everyone is doing so far. Okay. All right, guys. But yeah, I'm glad you're feeling good about it, and we're moving in the right direction. And this will be good too for you to compare and see that we're all in the same boat. But so far so good. So I'm actually liking what I'm seeing so far. Okay, don't worry about perfection. There's no such thing. It's all about just getting a feel of the technique. So the first thing is important is getting a feel for technique than anything else. We will improve in the weeks to come. Okay. All right. Awesome. All right, guys. So once you see your name up there on screen, you guys can totally log off for this evening. Have a good night. We'll see you on Thursday. And then we'll continue on with our pen tool exercises. Okay. All right, guys. We'll see you then. I'm gonna give some hearts here for all these cool designs that I'm seeing so far. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.